Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the show, and I'm here to talk about some news. We're going to run into it. We're going to start with NFL. So, Jordan Renan said last night, John Harbaugh met with several Giants coaches on Wednesday. Several were told they will not be returning next season, including most of the defensive staff and special teams coordinator Michael Gabriel. So, it looks like he's getting rid of the special teams coordinator, really getting rid of everybody for the most part. So, good riddance. Defense and special teams were asked, so he's going to bring in a whole new defensive staff. First thing for today, Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold feels, quote, better from his oblique injury, but he will limit his throwing this week. Are we sure he still has a oblique injury? Sure about that? Because that throw he had to Ajigba last week, he looked pretty fine to me. Former Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon is interviewing today and Friday for the Green Bay defensive coordinator job. So, from head coach to DC, and possibly back from DC to head coach back to defensive coordinator, could be a good deal, man. We'll see. But the Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady, who interviewed Wednesday for Buffalo's head coach, went to Baltimore to interview with the Ravens today. But the Ravens made a head coaching move. When we get to it, we'll get to it. So, staying in the NFC South, the Buccaneers are finalizing a deal to hire Falcons offensive coordinator Zach Robinson as their offensive coordinator, per sources. Oh man, his offensive coordinator is going to be freaking Zach Robinson. Man, Bucs fans want freaking McDaniel, and they got Zach Robinson. I mean, the Falcons' offense was up and down at times, but during a week in which Baker Mayfield called out Falcons head coach Kevin Stefanski, they hired Atlanta's former offensive coordinator. The Eagles have requested to interview Bears offensive coordinator Declan Doyle for their offensive coordinator position. He was hired last offseason in the NFL as the NFL's youngest offensive coordinator. He previously coached under Sean Payton in New Orleans and Denver. The NFL MVP finalists are Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, Christian McCaffrey, and Matthew Stafford are your MVP finalists. The Bills are scheduled to interview Jaguars offensive coordinator Grant Udinski for their head coach opening Sunday, per sources. Prior to that, he will have a second head coach interview Friday with Cleveland. Head athletic trainer Ronnie Burns will remain with the organization, but his role will change. There will be additions to the training staff, likely from Baltimore with ties to John Harbaugh. The Patriots-Texans game had 38 million viewers on ESPN on the ESPN telecast. The Bills completed an interview with Brian Dable for their head coaching position. This feels like Josh Allen wanted to go get him. Firing Sean McDermott for Dable would be wild. Bucks now officially hired Zach Robinson. The Cowboys are zeroed in on Christian Parker as the next defensive coordinator after a, quote, very impressive in-person interview Wednesday. He's 34 years of age. He's been their Philadelphia's pass game coordinator since 2024. Well, hopefully they can get some, the defense maybe could actually be lit if they get actual good corners instead of sticking with what they have. But yeah, the Cowboys agreed to make Christian Parker their next defensive coordinator after firing Matt Eberflus. Eagles' defense has been super good. We'll see if they can turn it around, but they have to actually get some more talent at corner. Lions offensive tackle Dan Skipper announced that he's retiring from playing in the NFL. A coaching career could await. This guy's expected to be one of the top picks in the NFL draft. Miami offensive tackle Francis Magoa has officially declared for the 2026 NFL draft. Gonna be he's a super good offensive lineman, one of the best offensive line prospects. Robert Saleh has now signed his 5-year contract. The Baltimore Ravens are hiring Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter as their head coach and signing to a 5-year deal. He visited the Ravens on Wednesday. He now reunites with the team he coached from 2017 to 2020. I actually really like this for them. I think it's a really good hire. That's probably one of the who Giants fans might have wanted them to hire if they did get John Harbaugh. So I think it's a really good move for them, man. The Ravens defense maybe will finally play up to their talent level, getting a really smart defensive mind there. So they're signing Jesse Minter to a 5-year contract. The Bills completed an interview with Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo for their head coaching position today. 5 of the head coaching jobs have been filled now. So, let's see what else we have. So, from JPA football, it's kind of interesting, though. Rumor, the Steelers are reportedly, quote, very interested in Miami head coach Mario Cristobal for their head coaching vacancy. That would be hilarious. I mean, if this is, I don't think this is true, though. But yeah, that's something. I still think their next head coach will be Chris Shula. Josh Allen is going to play a major role in not only consulting, but in selecting the next head coach of the Bills. Kind of not really surprising. The Falcons requested to interview former Jets GM Joe Douglas for their vacant general manager position. Nick Chubb, veteran running back, won't be back with the Texans next year. The Browns reached out to the Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula in regards to the head coaching vacancy and were told no thanks at this time. The Browns have been struggling to get any top head coaching candidates. They might just promote Jim Schwartz at this point. So the FBI, per report, is investigating the death of former Colts owner Jim Irsay, the doctor that was reportedly supplying him with huge amounts of opioids and ketamine injections. That same doctor was the one who signed his death certificate and ruled it as a natural cause. So, yeah. We'll see what happens with that. We already talked about Cowboys hiring Christian Parker as their new defensive coordinator. Rumors, the Giants are expected to keep Joe Shane to sign him to a contract extension near or right after the conclusion of the 2026 NFL Draft. God. I don't know why they want to keep Joe Shane so bad for it. He sucks. Lamar Jackson reportedly wants Cliff Kingsbury in Baltimore as the team's offensive coordinator. That'd be a good move, in my opinion, adding Cliff Kingsbury. Per Grant Conn, the 49ers will look to upgrade wide receiver this offseason, will likely target a trade for the Vikings for Jordan Addison. That is all from JPA Football. One thing from Rapport, the Commanders are set to interview Bears defensive pass game corner Harold Harris for their vacant defensive coordinator position. But yeah, that is all the NFL news here, so let's move on. So we're just going to go with NBA Central again, nothing from Shams Charna. So let's see what we have in NBA Central. So some perimeter players that have been linked to the Lakers: Peyton Watson, Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins, Keon Ellis, DeAndre Hunter. Some names that have been mentioned. Yeah, Peyton Watson. They're linked to everyone every year, and they ain't gonna trade for any of these players unless it's like Keon Ellis. That's it. So, per J.K. Fisher, a trade swap involving Yves Messi and Benedict Mathurin has been floating around. Pelicans have enough wings. The New Orleans Pelicans are willing to discuss Jordan Poole in trade talks, per J.K. Fisher. Bring him back to the Warriors. Need something. At least get some excitement. The Warriors would like to target Giannis via trade and LeBron James via free agency this offseason. I'm so sure, man. I'm so sure. Heard this for months, man. Stop saying BS. The Warriors front office when imagining what they can do via trade or offseason. And then you see the reality. The Knicks have shown interest in Yves Messi and Jose Alvarado. The Magic are open to moving Goga Beyonce, Jonathan Isaac, and Tyus Jones. The Raptors are reportedly willing to part with R.J. Barrett. Andrew Wiggins, this is per Brett Siegel. He's a name to watch for the Warriors. You know what? Bring back two-way Wiggins, man. Fuck it. Bring him back. Trade for him. Is trading for Wiggins going to change anything? Maybe not, but it's better than what they have. I mean, they won a championship with him before. It would probably change, at least help them be competitive. Somewhat competitive. So with baseball, we have a trade to talk about. So the Texas Rangers are acquiring left-hander Mackenzie Gore to trade with the Nationals. Sources say it's a 5-for-1 deal with a handful of prospects. Heading back to the Nationals, John Heyman was first in the deal. Gore in that ballpark, it could be lethal. Could be a great move by Texas. It was a hitter's park for like a year, but the last like 3 years, it's really been a pitcher's park. It's super weird. It was never a hitter's park, but the roof was never open. So, yeah, 5-for-1. I'm like, what? But yeah, here's the full trade. Rangers get Mackenzie Gore. The Nationals get Gavin Devin Fitzgerald. Right-hander Alejandro Rosario. First baseman Abimelec Ortiz and Yeremy Cabrera. Big return for the Nationals. Fiend was the 12th pick. Evaluators love Fitzgerald. Damn. So they get 5 prospects for Mackenzie Gore? That's crazy, man. I like this for the Nationals. It just looks like a huge overpay. Can Mackenzie Gore be good for the Rangers? Of course. With that in that, because it's like a pitcher's part, but still, man, that's 5 prospects, man. That's a risky deal. That's quite a lot for Mackenzie Gore, honestly. But it's a good return for the Nationals. We'll see how it goes for the Rangers. The Twins agreed to terms with Taylor Rogers, and Lamont Wade agreed to a White Sox deal, minor league deal, invite to camp. So, but yeah, that's really the big thing was Mackenzie Gore. Man, another day, another trade in the world of baseball. So now let's move on to wrestling here. So via WrestleVotes Radio and Fightful Select, discussions have taken place for Stone Cold Steve Austin to return to WBTV in the near future. Doesn't say when, but maybe sometime in the near future. Maybe it's just for appearances. I don't know. So AJ Styles has been announced for an appearance on SmackDown tomorrow night to have a chat with Nick Aldis. Tommaso Ciampa has filed a trademark Psycho King and Psycho Killer. So Psycho King and Psycho Killer. Might be it for what we have here in Wrestle Ops. So, Will Ospreay is reportedly backstage at last night's AEW Dynamite and is due to be checked by AEW's medical team for a potential return. Logan Paul has a, quote, weird feeling that Vince McMahon will return to WWE. He could, I hope not, but who knows. Chris Jericho's return reportedly won't be on this week's SmackDown or Sunday night's main event, barring any last minute change. He's shown up with the Royal Rumble. We already know this. He's going to return at the Rumble. We know he's not going to appear there. But I believe that is probably it. Or the former Baron Corbin, now known as Bishop Dyer, has made his AEW debut before Dynamite last night in a dark match. But yeah, that's all the wrestling news here. So let's get us some NASCAR to end off. So Bob confirmed with NASCAR. NASCAR won't ask the team to do throwback paint schemes for Darlington March. Darlington will still celebrate NASCAR history and alumni with the parade and appearances of former drivers. Teams always can do tribute schemes, but that won't be the focus. So they won't ask the teams to do these throwback schemes, but they can't. But basically, they can still if they want to. I mean, it's kind of lame, honestly. But the teams themselves sometimes didn't have the greatest throwbacks. Denny Hamlin also confirmed today at 2311 to sign the new charter agreement. Teams got the new version this week and have their next week to sign. So for the Daytona 500, RFK Racing drivers will have the style of numbers. They're on Greg Biffle's cars, the Tribute, the 6, 17, the 60, the 99. So they're going to basically pay tribute. Chandler Smith will attempt to qualify for the Daytona 500 in the 4th front row car. In the number 36, that makes 8 drivers vying for 4 spots. Alfredo, Allgaier, Heim, LaJoy, McLeod, Mears, Smith, and Yaley. Man, the doors are going to be stacked. That's 45 entries, I think. So, duels are going to be stacked. Yeah, but that's all the news here today so far in the world of sports. So, yeah, that's really all to say here. So, until next time, Alkaline. Peace. Leave a like, comment, subscribe for more on this.